Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very hall, as we did last year. As the Honorable Minister had mentioned, we were in this very hall giving you an update of what we achieved and what we want to do in the year 2018-2019 season. 2017-2019 season. 2018 season. We ended, of course, as of 31st December last year. It is therefore important to come back to you so that you get the facts and figures that you can digest, make your analytical point of view, and then we debate and we move on. As Mr. Sankara have said, we are in a new dispensation. And I think anybody who is taking up a responsibility within this government must be ready to face the public through the media, to talk, to answer questions, and indeed tell them what you're doing. Because if you don't tell people what you're doing, they will be living on rumors. But Honorable Minister, let me also make a quick observation. I think I must say, since you took over this Ministry of Information and Communication, we've seen, and of course, and the appointment of a government spokesperson, we have seen a remarkable improvement in communicating government issues, government achievements to the general public. We've witnessed a remarkable achievement in communication and in, of course, relaying government achievement, government issues to the general public. I must commend you for this, and I think it's not an easy job, having been under dictatorship for the last 22 years. Getting public servants to be used to, being put on the spot to discuss issues of governance. It's not an easy task, but I can tell you that we are making progress, and a substantial progress for that matter. And I hope by next year we would have done better than what we are doing. First of all, let me say that the Ministry of Tourism is responsible of 3 other government institutions. One of them is the Gambia Tourism Board, the National Center for Arts and Culture, and also the Gambia Tourism Hospitality Institute, plus the Ministry. So all these institutions work directly under the Tourism Ministry, and we direct the policies and the program, and they execute them. So first of all, let me start with the Gambia Tourism Hospitality Institute. As you're aware, when we took over in 2017, the first thing we did, we had an assessment report. All the stakeholders were called, and we had frank discussions. And what we discovered at the time was the standard of service and the quality of service within the tourism industry have suffered immensely. And that our competitors overseas, the Gambia was lacking behind. The syllabus, the quality of education within the Tourism Institute and other institutions dealing with tourism were not meeting the international standard. And in this world of today, standards and quality cannot be compromised because the tourism industry has become the most competitive industry in the world. As you know, where it carries 10% of world GDP and employs 10% of the entire workforce of the world. Everybody today is into tourism. Every government is into tourism because it is one of the industries that can guarantee you income and sustainable development with or without rain. Whether there is rain or rain, when tourism exists, you can always increase your salary of your staff by 50%. As you've seen, it's an unprecedented thing. You've never witnessed that. And there is no way you ever had any country increasing the salaries of civil servants by 50%. I think for the first time, we recorded that in the Gambia. 50% salary increase. It has never happened. So tourism gets a lot of benefits. And everybody in this world today believes that the more tourists you have, the more money you generate. And the more you fight against poverty reduction. Because once resources are spread, distributed, riches to everybody, everybody stands to benefit. Because there are linkages in it. The farmer who produces, every aspect of it, everybody benefits in tourism. So quality became an important issue for us. And therefore, the Gambia Tourism Institute, we had a new director appointed. He took over office when we took over. And of course, he got the support of his staff. And we went through a lot of transformation. And today we are proud to say that the Institute have done extremely well. And I think we are proud of the achievement down there. You and your staff, we're grateful that you've done fantastically well. We are not disappointed for appointing you as Director General of this institute. First of all, it was important to revise the curriculum to international standard in tourism and hospitality with adequate teaching and learning materials at certificate level that meets the needs of the industry nationwide. Finalization of the content manual and other educational resources for certificate and diploma courses in hospitality. Award of full scholarship to force students to undergo the diploma course in hospitality management on work-based learning in partnership with the Gambia Hotel Association and Netherlands, PMU in Netherlands, in efforts to meet the middle management capacity gap of the hospitality labor market. We have a problem. The problem that we are experiencing now is there is lack of middle level management within the tourism industry, particularly the hotels. That middle cadre. The cadre that was there have now graduated to a level, some of them have retired. And therefore, this government did not invest, the last government did not invest in training Gambians to that level. Those who got trained also left the country and are serving in other parts of the world. You will not be surprised, in most cases when you travel, you see a Gambian as a manager in different hotels as you move on in different parts. So the country suffered immensely for that. Therefore, we felt as a ministry it was important that we try to train the middle cadre that will also eventually be in charge of the industry in few years to come. Because we believe that the issue of expatriates is good, but being an expatriate in your own country, running your own soul, is the best. So that motivated government and took it up as a policy to help develop a very strong middle cadre within the tourism sector. In order to contribute in addressing the illegal migration and youth unemployment, the Gambia Tourism Hospitality Institute, in partnership with the European Union, through a YEP project, completed the selection and recruitment of 400 youths, including returnees, 30% who are returnees, and vulnerable women, 40%, for a specially designed practical professional training to meet the high demand for employment in food and beverage and rooms division services. This to say, we believe it was important also to engage our youths and help them build capacity and help them to be employed and to be part of the system So 400 youths were recruited. Among them were returnees who went on the back way and came back under the project of YEP. Because we believe that once people are capacitized, they should be able to deliver and be part of the process. And that we succeeded in getting 400 youths to be trained, and they are all functional as we speak now. In a bid to decentralize tourism activities nationwide, an expansion program in tourism and hospitality training in the rural Gambia is initiated in Janjambure in the Central River in partnership with YEP, with 60 young Gambians to build capacity and create employment opportunities. We also felt that there was a need to decentralize. As you've seen in education, the Gambia College is getting a new camp in Basse. We also felt that this institute need to decentralize because we cannot bring everybody to Banjul. It has become extremely expensive for some of us, particularly some of us who came from the rural area, to find somewhere to settle or to settle with rent with the type of salaries that people earn. So that's why we created 2 new training centers. One of them is Janjambure. And I personally was there and I saw them in service. And I was well served with all the guests that we were with. And we saw tourism right in the villages. And I think, as I said, tourism has to be part of everybody. And the life of everyone must be positively affected. So that we will see that it is not only about receiving people coming and going. It goes beyond that. The starting of 2 training annexes in Farafenye. Farafenye also is another center that we also use to train some of these youth to equip them with the skills and knowledge necessary in advancing our tourism industry. Establishment of research with the task of developing international recipes using local ingredients, thus creating better linkages with agriculture. We also believe that the Institute felt that there was a need to initiate new Gambian dishes, different from our super kanja, benachin, chebujen, mafe, using our local produce. It was important that they research, they come up with new Gambian drinks, new Gambian dishes that will be internationally accepted, part of our program. And I think they've succeeded in making a substantial advancement in that area. No doubt, very soon you will start seeing different dishes that people can learn here how to cook them. And they will be one of the most beautiful things that we can enjoy. And here, we keep on, as a ministry, in charge of culture, reminding Gambians of our food culture. Our need to eat what we used to eat, what belongs to us. You've seen a lot of people suffering from high blood pressure, a lot of people suffering from diabetes. It's all because our food culture has suffered. We have not been eating what our great-grandparents have been eating, who have lived, some of them, for 100 years. They have never known what high blood pressure is. They have never known what diabetes is. In the last 25 years, people would not even know what diabetes is, what was high blood pressure, because our food culture has suffered. We adopted what is not ours. We abandoned what belongs to us. And that really, we felt as a ministry on also using this institute, that it's important that we research and look at how can we go back to our original, dishes that we used to enjoy that never harm us. The sudden deaths that are happening, the way people are dying, the way we are eating things that are imported in this country, when we can locally cook something. You go to Nigeria, they eat a lot of local food. You go to Ghana, you go to many other countries. But in the Gambia here, Senegal, surrounding countries, we eat a lot of food that is imported. And I think it's important as a government, we try to find a way how we can really go back to basics, look at our original traditional food that was not harmful to us, and then we move on it. And that's why they felt it was important to come with new Gambian dishes that will be internationally accepted. And then, of course, they had a cooperation agreement with the Senegalese Touristic Institute to help train Gambians about pastry. Let me just tell you, you must admit that the French are very good in pastry. This institute is excellent in every aspect, but it was important also that aspect of our cookery system, that's the pastry, our relationship with them. We also try to get more and learn more from them. We got them here, they came, our people were trained. I remember even when I was in the industry, our best chef was pastry chef was from Senegal. and many of them, in fact. Very few times that you saw Gambians started coming into the pastry system. But now we cooperated with them, and we felt that was an area where we are weak, and we need to strengthen ourselves. And indeed, we have made substantial progress in that direction. Well, we also believe that the Institute also need to diversify its revenue sources. They cannot depend on government subvention, as we made it very clear that government does not have the money to do all what they need, the money that they need. We're not cutting it off, but they got a warning that they also have to innovate new ways of generating revenue to sustain themselves with the new programs that they engage in. And let me tell you that sometime when there is hunger, you can always find a way to survive. And I can tell you that they are on it now. And they're doing very well, generating a lot of money. Hopefully in the next 2-3 years, Dauda, we will not give you any more subvention, you will be self-sustaining. And that is now they are running different canteens. I think they are running the School of Medicine canteen. They are also running the Central Bank's canteen. They are doing public catering, and they are supplying food. They're into, how to call it again? They're into consultancy, a lot of other programs generating revenue on their own. I mean, that's the essence of it. In this world of today, you must innovate. You must think the way forward. You don't rely on government for everything, because government cannot and does not have it for all your needs. But once you innovate, then of course you move forward. So I think that is important. I congratulate you for that, but you need to do more. So, yes, there are a few challenges here and there, but as I said, those challenges will be addressed. They cannot be addressed overnight. And of course, these are logistics of equipment and things like that, and which of course, government is looking into it. We had discussion over this issue, both in cabinet and every time I meet them too. So we're doing a lot, and we hope that we should be able to address all your concerns out there. And we also plan to build a hotel here, 50-bedroom, 5-star hotel, where they will train their staff to international standard. Because if you don't train to international standard, when we want to export services outside the Gambia, we will suffer because they will not employ our people. So therefore, it's important that we train people to international standard. And you know, when you have the hotels occupied, it's difficult. So it's always important that you have your own hotel, not a huge one, but to 50 rooms, first class, train them, you have the best product, they are sellable anywhere in the world, they will get employed, because we live in a very competitive world. So this is for the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute report. So that, Dauda, I would say thank you. Government appreciate the efforts you made, and your staff, all of you, Singate, for a job well done. Keep it up. We are proud of you. And again, so then, of course, we go on to the Gambia Tourism Board. The Gambia Tourism Board is charged the responsibility of marketing the tourism sector in general, and also in charge of development of tourism, both in quality, quantity, in every aspect of it, and maintaining, of course, the highest standards. And therefore, it's an institution that we believe have one of the biggest tasks in the Gambia, because marketing a country with very little money, with all the competition that you have all over the world, it's become one of the most challenging things. As you're aware that you saw yesterday, 2 days ago, Cote d'Ivoire floating $5 billion for tourism marketing and tourism development. We saw Saudi Arabia last year with $5 billion. We saw Japan, we saw Ghana, we saw Malawi, we saw all the countries around us. The competition is very, very tough today, because everybody wants tourism to survive. It's the most guaranteed income for any government. So it's not easy when you come from a country where your coffers were virtually empty. There was absolute nothing. Thank God that we had very dedicated staff and a committed government that was ready to make a change and to make sure that we get to where we are going. As I told you last year, when we looked at the figures, we realized that really the Gambia was suffering immensely because we are staggering on 150,000 tourists a year and 150, 160 a year. And I felt really, Gambia can do better. The issue was Is there the capacity? The beds? Maybe, may not. Do we have the personnel? Yes. Do we have the policy? No. We decided that we have to put the policy as a government in place and get the men and women who are ready to get it work. And indeed, it worked very well. Because looking at our figures, Gambia had been in tourism since 50 years. Cape Verde next door started just about a few years ago, 20 years ago, when the people were driven from this country, they went to build that country's industry. And I think some of you were considering taking you on a trip to go and see Cape Verde, Canary Islands, Sam al-Ser, to have a look and see what is tourism in its real sense, how it operates and how countries value this industry. Cape Verde came up from nowhere with the World Bank and the African Development Bank. Today they are receiving 800,000 tourists, targeting 1 million. Small country, next door to us here, with nothing. They only have stones, sand, that's all, nothing is there. But today they are proud to say we're getting 800, and it has now developed from a poor country to a middle income economy. All for tourism, they have no oil, nothing. So I felt something was fundamentally wrong in our system here. And then as a government, we felt that we should need to look at all our strategies. What do we need to do to really get this country move forward? Because the numbers were too small. We cannot be proud in ourselves to say we have 150,000. When a country next door from nowhere can proud itself with 800,000 tourists. So we came with a lot of strategies as a ministry and as a government, and with very dedicated staff. I must tell you that if there is any ministry that's difficult to work, it's the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. It's not easy to work in the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. Very few civil servants work up to 6 o'clock, and even on Saturday, they have to be called to the office to work. And they are on toes 24 hours. They will move at the expense of their families. They run everywhere without 1 minute of rest, and sometimes I feel guilty that I'm overworking people, I'm doing it wrong, but at the end of the day when I looked at it, it's for the good of our country. Do we have a choice? The answer is no. If you want to meet the target, we lost 22 years, we have to work 22 times more than we are working to get to where we are. And that's what we did. It's not easy. I owe them an apology. I have used them so much, but the results are there for us to see. And I think it's important that when people do good things, you recognize them. Madam Permanent Secretary, I recognize the tremendous work you have done and your staff. Director General Gambia Tourism Board, I recognize the excellent work you have done with your staff. The National Center, Hasum Sise, I recognize the excellent work that you have done. And Mr. Daudanyang, I apologize all of you for putting you under strenuous, difficult moment and circumstances. It is not my wish to do that, but I am obligated by nature of my responsibility sometime to get it done. And I think that's what this country needs. We have to do more than what we are supposed to do. You cannot be a civil servant, come to work at 9 o'clock. You start looking at your laptop and mobile games. And then by 3 o'clock you disappear and want that government to deliver. It is not possible. We have to change work ethics. We have to work for the good of the country. It's not about salary. It's about how much we can achieve to give our country. We owe it to our nation to do little that we can for this country. But the way people work in this country, I can assure you that people need to change. You need to change. We cannot. And I thank my ministry for that. You have changed. When I leave you tomorrow, you go anywhere, you will be happy to work with anybody. And I think that is the essence of it. Nationalism, we must inculcate in the minds and hearts and brains of Gambians. We cannot go the way we are going and want to make a change for this country. The sacrifice must be made. And nobody will do it for us other than ourselves. Let's walk. We have nobody, whether Amat Bah Held, it doesn't matter. What matters is what you give to your country on a daily basis. If you earn $10, make sure that $10 becomes something that you sweat. The way we are working, it cannot continue. Yes, call me a hard man, difficult man to work, But in few years, you will come to say, yes, it's good. It was good I worked with this guy. When I leave you or you leave me, anywhere you go, you will fit in there. Some of them, I put them on missions. They abandoned their families under difficult circumstances, paid a very bad per diem. Sometimes they cannot even pay their hotel rooms. With what they are paid, they cannot even pay their hotel rooms. You sympathize with them. That's the life that they have enjoyed the last 2 years. Why? They want to make a difference for their country. And that's why we don't talk much, but we deliver results. So when we came in, we also found that the government of the Gambia hired what we call PR companies, paying them thousands of pounds a month, millions from taxpayers' money. People who just sit there in Europe because you are a PR firm, make one letter, one note, and then every month you get 2,000, 6,000 pounds a month. When Gambians were living on scrap, on crumbs, this government made an end to that. We terminated all those contracts and we recruited Gambians to go and do that job. We created what we call the destination managers, who were deployed to promote. Nobody can promote your country better than yourself. Nobody can know your country better than yourself. We believe it was important as a government to terminate those contracts and get our Gambian citizens to go and do it. And they are doing it fantastically well. And we are proud of that decision. Yes, there was outcry. People were saying, but we believe. And in that vein, let me say, very honestly, I must thank the former Vice President, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, for supporting that process by also accepting to house all our destination managers in the Gambian embassy free of charge. He was very instrumental in supporting that policy. One has to acknowledge facts and good deeds. You must acknowledge them. And he was very supportive of the new policy that we came up with in getting rid of these PR companies and hiring Gambians to do the job. They offered us all the Gambian embassies in the world to house our staff freely, at no cost to us. And that really was a magnanimous decision from the former Vice President and the then Minister of Foreign Affairs. We felt that promoting our country was the way forward, and we started the policy. The Gambia Tourism Board came up, the ministry gave directives and gave all the information that was relevant to the institution. The ministry was working 24/7. The board cooperated. Cabinet came up with the decision that it must be implemented, and the decision was fully implemented. The results are as follows. We believe that it was important to reach out to people. People have money, they go on CNN, pay $1 million now, get advertised and heard. People have money, they pay for big things. We, Gambia, don't have that money. We virtually even find it difficult to travel. Our counterparts were flying with millions of dollars everywhere, promoting their countries. Imagine competing Japan, competing France, Britain in promotion. It's not an easy task. So we felt that we have to personally be there ourselves to meet the individuals, talk to them, engage them one-to-one. And we did that. Sometimes we are even for 10 days, running like slaves outside this country. But we felt it was necessary to do for us to get this country back in the international forum. And indeed, it wasn't easy, but we succeeded in making sure that the people, the world, focuses on Gambia. All the ills, what we have talked about, sex tourism and all the evil things. Unfortunately, some section of the press did not understand what was sex tourism. And they were made to believe, to write very bad things about their country. And that made a serious damage to the industry. And I gave example where sex tourism. I don't need to go back to that, because I don't need to create another debate in the world. But I can assure you that I said there is no sex tourism in the Gambia. Sex tourism is something that government sanctions, that is well organized, that is well managed. It's not in this country. Yes, prostitution is all over the world. You go to Rome, yes, there is. You go to Mecca, yes, there is. It's everywhere. It's the oldest profession. The relationship between a man and a woman, nobody can discard that. It's here to stay. whether illegal or illegal, how it happens, whether attracted by means, money, whatever, it will always happen. So it's not unique to Gambia. So when I see journalists writing Gambia sex story, putting documentary, and you take them to court, they will lose the case. If you take any journalist who writes about the Gambia to court, you will be convicted. But this government does not want to take journalists to court. It is not our desire. But I want to advise you, please, when somebody comes to destroy your country and want you to write evil, we all love this country. All of you love the country. Because you are writing because you love the Gambia. Let's be cautious of what we write. It's very important. Because one sentence you make damages this country. We went to a particular country during our effort to restore the Gambia. They said, we don't come to your country. Why? Because you have sex tourism. Do you realize that the last couple of years, there was no tourist coming with a family in the Gambia? Sex tourism. It's just now that we've now revamped the country. Now you see children as tourists. It damages this country. So please, I want to appeal to you. You can write, it's your right to write, but it's also your responsibility to protect and preserve the supreme interests of your country. And I think that cannot be compromised, cannot be sold, cannot be exchanged for anything else. No matter who sits at State House. Doesn't matter for me. For me, it shouldn't matter to a Gambian who sits there. What matters to a Gambian, what we can do for our country and make a change. I think for me, that's what comes to, that should be in the mind of every other Gambian. Because even whereas you make a policy that people don't accept today, you will withdraw it. You will withdraw because you'll be forced to withdraw. I think the Minister of Information just talked about Julburu here. Gambia and all the tax issues. Because it's a government that listens to public opinion. When people make an outcry and you listen and you realize that, yes, our policy is wrong, these people are right, you go back to the drawing board. That's democracy. That's the type of exchange you want to have with the press. That's the type of relationship we want to have with you. Where we are wrong, let's not personalize issues. Where I go in the evening, where I spend my time in the afternoon, should not be an issue for the press. But what I do in my office, the pronouncement I make, the job that I do that affects my country needs to be scrutinized. That's normal all over the world. And I think that's where we need you. The press have been very vibrant on this issue of Junta. Very, very vibrant. And they took it upon themselves to say it's wrong. We're not going to accept it. We'll expose it. And the government is left with no choice but to go back to the drawing board. It was done with reason that we cannot explain. But I think at the right time, the message will be communicated from the right channel. And of course, as the minister has said, you don't have to fear anything. Matter has been addressed, but he will come back to you at the appropriate time and tell you the new step that has been taken. That much I can tell you. So that's what we want you to be doing. But small issue, a journalist come from Europe, they have an agenda to destroy our country, give you 500 euro to make a story on sex tourism, you start narrating. The last one I saw, when I saw it on video, I just fell sick for almost 1 week. Because I felt this journalist did not know what they made him to do. How much is costing Gambian jobs, the risk that this country faces by writing such an article. Rather unfortunate. But you know, as we dialogue, we engage each other, we'll come to know sometimes it's important that we are open. The directors, they are all allowed to talk to the press, all of them. If you have any issue, you call them, they will talk to you. We are not stopping them talking. You call the Ministry of Information on any issue, within 12 minutes, 1 hour, they give you the answers. Correct, accurate answers. So it's important that really sometimes, you know, we try to engage each other. For the common good, I think it's important. So the Tourism Ministry, Tourism Board engaged in a lot of efforts to make sure that really we make a difference for the year 2018. So as of 2018, 2017-2018, we had a remarkable success of 28% increase in arrivals. We had 162,075 tourists that came to this country for the previous year. And the year ended, we recorded 209,000 tourists in the Gambia. And I believe this figure is even more than this. Do you know why? What we discovered as a ministry is that there are other tourists who come to this country are not in the statistics. You go to Kerr, there is a border crossing point. Tourists come and go. Amdalai, a lot of people come as tourists and go. Jiboro, they come and go. You go to Yemenar, you go to, how to call it again, the Soma border, Seliti, you go to all these people, tourists come and go, they are not recorded. Therefore, the GT board have been directed by the ministry through the permanent secretary to employ people to be posted in all these centers and to take the statistics accurately. I believe that our arrivals are more than this, but this is what they have captured at the level of the airport. Because people come from different parts to this country. The airport is the major, but there are other arrivals that we are not capturing. So I want to believe this figure is very conservative. So that, Madam Permanent Secretary, I want you really to hammer on the Gambia Tourism Board to quickly implement this staff. I think the Director General will be asked to give us an update on that, because there were some advertisement for these positions. And you know, funny enough, there are no jobs in Gambia. When you advertise things, people with a lot of degrees now apply for a job that you ask for a diploma. And that shows that really people want jobs. So I think, to be honest with you, Director General, we want to see the staff engage as quickly as possible and let them start work. How far you've gone in the recruitment process, we would also love to have maybe an information on that. Yes. So we recorded an increase of 28% last year, which is remarkable. Our target here within the NDP is to reach 350,000 by the year 2021. But for me, at the level of the ministry and the board, we want to hit 500,000. Already we have surpassed our targets within the NDP. But we want to progress and move forward. You see, I listened to Uganda yesterday. Uganda. I know the minister, professor, very old professor, very doyen, and his assistant ministers, because their tourism is so important that at least they have about a couple of ministers who are also attached to the ministry, who support the minister in getting. They're projecting 5 million tourists in 4 years' time, 5 years' time. And I listened to their progress report like yesterday. And their progress report already give them, within a year, 2 million plus. And they believe that they will surpass, they will meet their target of 5 million by that time. But they have the same problem that the Gambia has. We don't have beds, no hotels. We don't have quality beds. And that's why this year, we even have to stop selling the Gambia, because there are no rooms to put the tourists. If they come, you have nowhere to house them. Before, if they come, you are full, you transport them to Kasama, sell it. They spend a night, you bring them back. That's what we used to do. But you know, that area is not very stable for now, and most of the hotels are closed. So we believe that one of the major hurdles we have at the moment is building hotels. And they must be quality hotels. We started that, but we were in trouble of ourselves. The trouble was, really, the 34% of the entire TDA land was leased by the former president. And the commission took over these lands. We couldn't get them back. We couldn't use them. Judicial process wasn't easy. Very frustrating. Some of the investors left the country, went to invest in other countries. You know, in democracy also, these are some of the problems that you face. You saw people came with their money, want to build a hotel, they get frustrated, judgment here, court here, lawyer here. I mean, it's just not easy. I can tell you that. We lost a lot of people who left the country and went to other places. Where we were able to manage, those who were given lands and did not use it, cabinet came with a decision to take them back. And some of those lands were built hotels that are operational today. Some of them have been holding on to this land that belongs to the state for 20 20 years, they failed to do what they were supposed to do. Some of them even went to the so leasing them illegally, using them as collateral to get money at the expense of Gambia. Cabinet came with a decision to revoke that and get people to use this land and to build hotels. And we succeeded 99% in getting that policy through. So the arrival really stands extremely well, but that is not our target. From 160 to 209,000, no. We want to reach, not the NDP, but we want to reach 500,000. That every Gambian can feel in your pocket the benefits of tourism. And the only way we can do that is by increasing the numbers and the quality and the standard. That's important for us. For the first quarter, 2019, we have witnessed an increase in arrival by 97%. By 97%. We had 47,300 last year, the same period. This year, we've recorded 75,000 tourists for the first quarter. That means we are witnessing a 97% increase for the first quarter of 2019. And we pray that the year will continue like that, so that we'll really make another record. And then, of course, for the number of flights at the airport, I must tell you that one of the most frustrating institutions that we have is our airport. As a government official, I'm saying this. I am not hiding my feeling about it. And I've said it openly. I have a right to say my opinion, even though I'm a minister. Am I right? Yes. I would say my opinion. This is an airport, when you get there, you see how Gambians suffer when they come to this airport. We've met repeatedly, we've talked about it. It's difficult for people to understand that it's the first point of entry, the last point of departure. The impression of the person entering your country and the impression of the person leaving your country. It is important. A lot of work needs to be done in that airport. The infrastructure, we've already started in progress. But a lot of administrative adjustment has to be made in the way the airport operates. The issue is there is immigration, there is customs, there is security, there are all of it there. So everybody wants to do your quota on the other side of it. It's not easy. But it needs to be dealt with. I'll give you a story. When the former British Foreign Secretary came in, Boris Johnson, he came here. You remember? I met him at the reception. We were discussing at the reception. Then his chief of security, one of the security staff was next to him. He said, but you have a problem, Minister. I said, what's the problem? He said, your airport. I said, what's the problem? I know there is a problem, but I would not admit, we're foreigners, that there is a problem. He said to me that, you know, I met one of your security who didn't know that I'm a security. He asked me for $100. If not, he will not stamp my passport or will not do this. And then he was harassing me for $100. 100 pounds rather. I looked at him, I tried to talk to him, he would not understand. When I roomed my card and saw him, the guy just disappeared away. He said, you look at your airport, Mr. Minister, something is wrong. This is a guy who sits with the British Foreign Secretary who make decisions about our country. Having that impression. We need to really think more nationalistic, as I said again. When a Gambian come with 3 mobiles, 4, we know that we have an extended family system. When you are coming, you want to give your family, everybody a friend, they will ask you, you cannot get this, pay. Do you get a receipt for it? The answer is no. Gambians being proud coming to your country. Coming to your own country, wanting to be happy in your own country. Your first point of entry, you are harassed about few mobiles you have for gift, for friends and loved ones. Can we continue that way? No. And that's why the press also, you have to be doing your job. Don't go after Amat Bah alone. No, it's not fair. Why don't you go and see this and report them? Some of them have stories with tapes, recording, they have it. I saw one guy, he recorded, somebody recorded everything that transpired. the press also needs to go after other devices in the society, not only going after public officials. Amat Bah Held, no way, it shouldn't be that way. There is a need to go and also investigate issues that are affecting our society with a view to correcting them. Not to harm anybody, but to correct them. I think it's important. So our airport really, we did extremely well. We had about 50 flights. We increased them from 30-something when we came in to 50 flights. Last year, we increased it again to 57 flights a week. We are landing in the Banjul International Airport. A remarkable success. And then, for this year, the tropical season, for the first time, all year round tourism has become a reality. We are getting 8 flights a week now. 8 flights a week, what used to be 2-3 flights. 8 flights a week will land in the Gambia to October, roundabout. So, most of our youths who have been redundant will not be redundant massively as it used to happen. Some of them will still stay at work because the arrivals are continuing, and we hope to develop that. President Barrow has made a pronouncement on this, and we will continue to pursue that pronouncement, that policy as a ministry, and of course as public corporations to the Gambia Tourism Board, to make sure with other stakeholders to make it possible for us to really deliver in that direction. So we are proud to say our all year round tourism have started. Just to also tell you that the Gambia Tourism Board also have been trying to support the infrastructural development of the new hotels that are coming up. That is building roads, waterways, electricity, poles, from the little revenue they are earning to help support development of tourism in different parts. We want to create another Senegambia, another Kombo in other parts of the Gambia, throughout the Gambia. And we are now encouraging people to build 3-star hotels in Upcountry. We want Gambians to be tourists in their own country. We want Gambians to discover the beauty of their country. It is not happening because why? There are no hotels if they are very expensive. And that's why we've banned the construction of 3-star hotel in the urban area. They will all be now for the provinces. So that as we can drive with our kids, our family, stay 1 weekend, come back and discover our country. Enjoy our mafe, enjoy our durango, all as you call it locally. And then we discover our country. And that's why we are now encouraging people to build hotels up country. So Tourism Board is engaged in giving the infrastructure that is necessary to make that happen. And they are engaged in it. And I commend them for the first time. You see them building roads, building pipes, putting up electricity lights, and so forth. And I think that's what the ministry have been encouraging them to do. And they've been managing their resources judiciously, very judiciously. And that is paying dividends now. They're investing that in the infrastructure. So Gambia Tourism Board, your financial director, your entire directors, all of you for that matter, marketing, all of you, product development, everybody, we thank you once again. We thank you once again. So now we also build new hotels. As I said, when we took over that land from other people, we managed to build a couple of new hotels. The Tamala, I think some of you know about Tamala. Not so? Oh, it's a new one, Thomas Cook brand hotel. For the first time in the sub-region, Thomas Cook building their own hotel, their own product. Because you see, what we want to encourage also, the tour operators must take ownership of a hotel for them to be able to put tourists there. Because once they own it, they will fill it with tourists. They will make sure the hotel is not empty. So that policy also we try to encourage as a government, for them to build hotels. Now Thomas Cook did. Quarendon is building one. And of course, very soon you will see also Tui and others coming up in building their own hotels. And that's what they did in Cape Verde. That's what they did in Sam Al Sheikh. We have to encourage that. So that when they build it, they will make sure that there are tourists in the hotel. And because that becomes ownership, responsibility. So this, and then you have also the African Princess Hotel. I'm sure some of you also know that one. owned by 2 Gambians. And then you have the Met Residence Hotel, also owned by a Gambian. These are all new. And then you have the Banala Hotel, which is under construction, have advanced immensely. Then, of course, you have the Jaweli Hotel, which has been refurbished. And then you have the Kelowna Town Hotel under construction, and many others. Already, we've got a lot of applications to build new hotels. They have been processed by the Gambia Tourism Board and the board of the governing director, board of governing body, for us to make sure that we get the number of rooms that we need to get the type of tourists and the number of tourists that we also need in the country. It's not about building a hotel, but building a quality hotel, because the standards are very high international, and we cannot afford to be left behind. And again, we also want to build some 5 ecologists upcountry that will also encourage inland tourism. And also when the tourists come here, they should be able to go outside and then, of course, enjoy the beauty of our eco, our nature, our culture, our art, and so forth. And that means, again, you have to create the facilities for them to be able to get there. We also believe that the Gambia tourism sector has a lot of work to do. And the competition is getting harder by the day. The reason being, let me tell you, we had Morocco out of the market a couple of years ago. They had some problems and they were out of the market. Tunisia had some problems. There was a terrorist attack. They also were out of the market. Egypt had the terrorist attack on the aircraft, the Russian tourists. They also went out of the market. Turkey had some problem with terrorism. They went out of the market. And few other countries. Today, they are all back in the same market where Gambia is competing. They are all back in the same market where we are all competing. And these are countries with a lot of money. Of course, some countries have benefited. World Bank gave Ghana 50 million, Malawi, different countries, Senegal, next door, 70 million others. We're working on our own to see what we can get. But for the time being, we use our expertise, our knowledge and experience, and with a dedicated staff that we have, to make sure that we make a difference and we are noticed and we make a positive impact, that we don't lose the market and that we win. So it's important to understand the challenges are there, because the financial resources is very small. And that's why we've been encouraging, using Gambians for that matter, to make sure that we promote our industry. And I'm sure all of you know Jaliba Kuyate, one of the ambassadors of tourism. He has been participating with us and many other Gambians, artists, to help promote this country. But where we go, we find other countries, our neighbors, fighting really hard, strong, to dominate and to really make sure they implant themselves. And they have the resources. But thank God we have the experienced and the dedicated men and women around us, and a government which is committed to it. As you know, that the President Amat Bah Held's government have taken tourism as a priority sector and culture as a priority sector. And that has really given us support in cabinet. And we also received an award. Last week, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, although the permanent secretary received this information while she was on her overseas mission, and directed and instructed the ambassador in Brussels to go and receive the award on behalf of the government and the people of the Gambia. And the award is called Sonenkala TV, am I right? Golden Sonne Award as Holiday Destination of the Year. The German travel channel, Sonenkala TV, is the biggest and most successful travel shopping channel in Europe. The ceremony was broadcast by 17 TV channels with a live audience. Over 2.5 million people watched it for our ambassador to receive this award on behalf of the government and the people of the Gambia. Bravo, Permanent Secretary of 3, bravo, Director General, Tourism Board, GTHI, and NCAC, and the government of the Gambia. Let me tell you that the president is #1 supporter of tourism and culture. We have never made a request that was rejected. As long as it is tourism request approved. Not 1 second. They don't even think a second to do approval. 1 minute of it, if it's a policy or anything that regards tourism and culture, approval is granted. And that's why we are succeeding too. Because they know what we are doing and what we are capable of doing as a team. You see, at the Ministry of Tourism, we work as a team. What I know, she knows, he knows, everybody knows. If you ask a question, everybody can answer it. We work as a team. Nobody is super. Everybody is on board. And we all do it together. But we fight sometimes very bitterly. If you come to fight some of our quarrels, sometimes you have to close the door. It's not always easy. And you know, when you have staff who are brave enough to tell you, Mr. Minister, this is not correct, you learn. And you're happy that they have the guts to face you and say, respectfully, Mr. Minister, I don't think we can agree to this. This is not good. I don't think we have to do this. And they will argue. They will tell you the truth right there and to change you. But when you go back to reflect, you come and say, they were right. And then, that's how we work. Nobody works like a dictator there. We work because we believe that nobody knows it all. But sometimes it's tougher. It's not easy. But I think we all do that. Even in your editorial boardroom, sometimes your editor-in-chief have problem with some of the stuff that you bring. And I'm sure people like Mustafa sometimes find it difficult to put it on board. So I think we live that. That's the life we live. It's part of our job, isn't it? If you want to be doing the right thing, you must accept being challenged. You understand? But if you want to live like a small god, they leave you to live like a small god, you end up being nothing, not even an angel. So I think I commend my staff for that, for being brave enough to face me and tell me something with all respect and a request for a change of it. And then we accede and we move forward. So the Gambia Tourism Board, we thank you once again. It's not easy, but we've made it. But we still have a long way to go. We need to finish these hotels. We need to bring more tourists. We need to generate more revenue for government. And we need to make sure that Gambians enjoy tourism. Now, the final one would be the National Center for Arts and Culture. They have a huge one. I will just try to summarize it. They made so much of progress, that really, I don't think we can narrate it all, but we'll just start part of it. During the period under review, the National Center for Arts and Culture has undertaken many tasks successful as per its work plan 2019 and the NDP 2018-2021. First, in the side, when it comes to festival, the NCAC supported the successful holding of 10 festivals. Numerous festivals, many of them, I cannot name there around, I'll tell you. And then we sponsored them with almost over $500,000. For the first time, government committing money, giving it to festival groups, societies to create their own festival. You know why? We believe our culture was fading into insignificance. We believe this country, we have to go back to what we know, our practices, our cultural practice that we are proud of. And that's why we felt as a government, it was important to encourage these cultural groups, cultural associations in various parts of the country, to revive them and give them money. Therefore, the Ministry of Tourism, with the help of the Permanent Secretary, managed to secure over $500,000 worth of money to disburse to these cultural groups to be able to successfully conduct successful cultural festivals in various parts of the country. And Director General NCAC, we are proud of that. And I witnessed some of them. I went to Janjambure, a couple of them. I cannot attend all of them, but my staff do attend most of them. And I think we need to go back to know who we are, what we are, and be proud of ourselves. We cannot accept alien culture that is detrimental to our society. And the only way we can do this is making sure that our own culture become part of our activities. Then the other one is, of course, the NCAC supported the UNESCO, with the support of UNESCO, has started a 3 weeks intensive training course on creative business entrepreneurship at the GTHI. 25 young Gambians active in arts have been trained on how to make money, create jobs in the sector, as indicated in the NDP. The NCAC also continued to work to strengthen the copyright law to protect artists and give them a decent income. A copyright officer was employed and has been assigned to work with the Collective Society of the Gambia Board, who are charged with setting up royalties mechanism. 2 copyright inspectors have also been hired. Just to summarize that one, let me come in. When I came to the ministry, we found that 5 years this copyright regulation was lying there. Our artists are suffering. People are cheating them. They're dying poor. They were neglected. The Senegalese, name them. Most of them die poor. With all the things they do, their counterparts are millionaires. Why? Because as a government, we failed to do what we should have done. And that is collecting royalties for their products, their music, their cassettes, their shows, what they have produced. And this, we felt as a government, we must put an end to it. And we immediately signed the copyright regulation. And then it's now functional. The institution have now started, and people have been recruited, and we want to make sure that every artist benefit from the works that you do. And that even when you die, your children will be enjoying it. We want to remove that element of poverty within this industry. And that's why we felt it must be done as a government. So this government is concerned and responsible of every other citizen, whatever job that you do. So that one is already in action, and they are working on it. And again, at the NCAC also, the Ministry of Tourism supported, making sure that the salaries of the staff there were remarkably improved, beyond the expectation of most people. And over 20 new staff were hired. It has now been revamped to a proper institution that will now properly represent the Gambia and move forward the way you want things to be happen. So we thank the board of directors of the NCAC also for implementing the ministry's desire in making sure that the staff get their rightful pay within the sector that they work in. And then, of course, they were equipped with computers and all the necessary things that was necessary. We've also asked them to engage the media houses so that they can also be telling people what they are doing at their level, and they should be partnering with them in having some promotional program. Media houses really partner with the NCAC so that the NCAC also will be able to generate the necessary revenue. And we have also directed them as a ministry to make sure that they increase the fees on foreign bands coming to this country. They have to pay for what they do. They have to pay for it. If they come to the Gambia, they cannot just come and rob us and go. Part of their money must stay with the NCAC to support our own artists. That's now a policy. We've just directed the new board with the new revised fees to be implemented, and nobody will interfere. Nobody will call a ban and stop it from paying fees. Nobody. As it used to obtain before. When you bring somebody here, someone high government official will call and say, don't let them pay. That is over. Nobody can do that. No government official will ever do that. If you bring them here, they must pay. Payment is a must, uncompromising. So that will also enhance our own artists. That money will be used to develop our own people here in the Gambia. The Trust Bank supported them, and many other institutions also supported them. And I just want to summarize, because it's a huge document. They did so much, I can tell you, it's unbelievable. But we just sworn in a new board. We retained the former board chairman, Mr. Remy Joyner, and then, of course, 2 other board members. I'm sure you must have seen that in the press this morning. I read the papers. One of the first things I do is sometimes to see how much insult I receive on the papers. So I all tend to read them. I enjoy that, Politicians enjoy being insulted, So we also have a new cultural policy, one that was here since in the 80s. A new one now is in place that reflects the current modern realities of the Gambia that is already in force. So a new cultural policy validated. So we believe that substantial progress has been made in that end. And again, we have reformed the institution completely. The budget has been revised, and the NCAC director is retired, but not tired. We have redeployed him in Paris and in UNESCO as the cultural officer of the Gambia in UNESCO, because I believe people with knowledge, experience should be used at all times. Getting him retired with all the knowledge he has, getting him here, I think we felt as a government it was a waste. So we've been rehired to go to UNESCO to support our programs within UNESCO. We are concerned as a government. We are the only country in the sub-region without a modern museum. We are the only country in the sub-region without a national theater troupe. We are the only country in the sub-region without a school of arts. We are the only country in the sub-region without a national center for arts and culture, where our artists can go and practice and record their things. We are totally left behind. The sector was neglected. This government is determined to make it work, to make sure that Gambians see who they are, what they are, and indeed, when that happens, we can be more proud and be differentiated from what other tribes are. So, having taken most of your time, Hasum Cham now is the acting director of Hasum Sise, the acting director of National Center for Arts and Culture. On this note, Mr. Minister, before I give the mic back to our able spokesman, Mr. Sankare, veteran journalist, PhD holder, a man I know very well, since he was at the Point newspaper, went to Observer. I met him a couple of times. He hosted me, treated me well in North Carolina, even gave me a vehicle whenever I travel and go to the United States. One of the best Gambians you can find, and committed. Before I give him the mic back, I must take this opportunity once again to thank my staff. And I said, Permanent Secretary, my apologies to you, Director General, all of you, Cisse, and of course, Nyang, all staff of the Tourism Ministry. I'm not harsh, I'm not bad, I just wanted to get some results, and we are proud of the result that we have achieved. And I'm so sorry for taking you some of you away from your families, working very hard, suffering in every part of the world, just because you want to promote your country and make a difference. But we are making progress, and let's work towards it and be more committed and be ready. The President is willing to support, government is willing to support, and now I think the Ministry of Information need to tell us how far they've gone in creating a media unit within our ministry. So on that note, I thank you all once again for coming to this program.
Notice the presence of Jaliba Kuyate that the Honorable Minister was talking about, and some friends also in the gallery there. I think it was a very important rendition by the Honorable Minister to keep us abreast and afraid with the developments that have been taking place since the coming into power of President Amat Bah Held and his new government, the new dispensation, as we like to call it. One thing that actually struck me during the minister's deliberation is the emphasis on Gambians to love their country, to change for the better. The situation at the airport is particularly disturbing. I just happened to come from the airport last Sunday with the Director of Information. I saw the same picture that the Honorable Minister actually highlighted. I cannot still understand why Gambians really have to pay for their mobile phones while they have to be taxed on their mobile phones. I don't know how that came to be law, whether it's law or whether it's a norm or a custom. It is disturbing, deeply disturbing. And this culture of corruption too, it is a very sad malaise that a country as poor as ours, that people who go out of this country and trying to come back are actually taxed beyond the regulations, stipulated by government. It is an embarrassment, so to speak. Man, they say, is homo educandus. Man educates. He's an educator. Man also, they say, is homo haber. He's a farmer. He's a teacher. But man also, they say, is homo aestheticus. Man is the only creature that really appreciates beauty. Tourism deals with beauty, the aesthetics. Gambians being encouraged by the ministry to build hotels upcountry so that Gambians could be holidaying there. They could be going for weekends and on vacations to see the beauty, the serenity of the Gambian landscape. I think is a significant development. And I hope Gambians who would listen to this press conference hereafter would be encouraged to return to Gambia and invest. Not only invest, but to invest enormously. The last time we went to Farafenni for the bridge opening, it was a nightmare. The Honorable Minister can be a witness. A place to sleep was a problem. I remember the Vice President, current Vice President, Dr. Ture, came to our place at night. She couldn't have a place to sleep. And with all the talk of development that has taken place in this country for the past 2 decades, it is a colossal catastrophe, really, that we don't even have hotels in this country, upcountry. It's sad. So it is good that we now have a ministry that has the inkling that it is better we also develop the countryside. I think one of the reasons, or one of the ways we could significantly curb this rural urban migration is to have these hotels built upcountry so that people will not be motivated to come to the combos. They would instead have jobs over there. The hotel, the training school in Janyambure, the annexes in Farafenni, the Gambia College campus that is being built in Basse are all programs that I think are pretty good and credible, and the government should encourage programs like this to actually proliferate all over the Gambia. Without further ado, I would ask journalists to come forward and pose questions. You could ask questions to the Honorable Minister of Tourism, to the Minister, to any of them, like the Minister has said. Let's just limit ourselves to one question at a time, and thereafter, if there is time, we could give chance to the same people to ask questions again. And let us be very organized, let us be very disciplined, as journalists, because all too often, our names have not also been, so anyway, so let's just be organized. Okay. You can raise your question, you can raise your hand, identify the organization you're representing, and you come forward, pose your question and step aside, and whoever is going to take that question will come to the podium and take that question. Welcome. Questions? Yes?
I am Yankuba Diallo, Foreign Newspaper. Honorable Minister, I would like to thank you.
Honorable Bah.
Yes. Honorable Minister Amat Bah, I will congratulate you for 2 things. That is for the good presentation, and the other thing is for the late start, because we were told it will start by 9 o'clock, and you started by 10, and this will end in the Gambia. Okay. So you are talking about the construction of hotels, and considering your promise you made at the National Assembly, you promised that there will be 10 5-star hotels that will be constructed by your ministry. We want to know whether you have constructed 1 or 2 within this time, and also how many are under construction. The second question is the tax on the hotels. You said you are promoting Gambians or outsiders to come and construct hotels. Don't you consider reducing the tax so that it will encourage many people to construct more hotels? Thank you.
Representative of the Foreign Newspaper. First of all, it was a strategy. Last time I summoned you here, I waited for 1 hour. Second time I summoned you, I waited for almost 2 hours. This time I told the minister to tell you 9 when we are scheduled for 10. I was learning from your accents in the past, and I strategically did it very well. I came here, if you look at the time, at 10 minutes to 10. My permanent secretary came in at 5 minutes to 10. My directors were here because they all knew it was 10 o'clock. But we wanted to be on time. We told our Gambian maybe time is 9 o'clock, and we got them at 10. Now, with regards to the hotels that we promised, in fact, it's going to be more than 10, 12 hotels. Already the hotels I mentioned to you, they are all hotels that are already completed, 5 stars, 4 5-star hotels. The list I just mentioned, list will be made available to you. And we have others that are construction in progress already, and others that have already got approval, waiting for the land to be returned by the Commission of Inquiry, which is now before the Justice Minister, for them to commence work. And I also want to tell you that we are working on a huge investment that we don't want to make a pronouncement on now. As we speak on that table, I was just talking to the Permanent Secretary and that of action that need to be taken towards that. As we are talking here, we are working on the table there. But then we don't want to make a pronouncement until it is here and Gambians will see it. You will have the biggest investment in the tourism sector in the sub-region, inshallah, in the Gambia. Thank you. The tax. Sometimes things happen, you don't know why they happen. You don't know why they happen, and sometimes in government you cannot explain them. But the tax that is levied has been addressed, but the minister responsible will make the pronouncement at the appropriate time, as the Minister of Information have already said. But again, we have to survive on tax. We are a tax-based economy. But the tax must be reasonable, that it does not stop those who are venturing to invest in our country from coming in, because they are not on charity mission. They are on a mission to make money. But we are aware of that. We'll be flexible. We'll make sure we work it out. No tax will disturb or will stop an investor coming to this country. Taking into account that you have a president who is a businessman, who understands how tax can damage a country's economy, but also how he understands why you need to collect tax also to run your government. So I think we will get there. But be rest assured that we are responsible and we'll look into it. Thank you.
I'm Keba Ansumani. I'm here representing Chronicle News. My question is to the Honorable Minister for Tourism and Culture. Indeed, you have spoken a lot this morning, but I haven't heard about why Gambia is losing the Rosian market. Because of Rosians, we understand Rosians have now abandoned the market. Why that? And then also the efforts that are in place in order to attract the Scandinavian market that Gambia used to benefit a lot. You also highlighted that Gambia government has lost a lot of money as far as the hire of PR companies are concerned. And I would like to know which PR companies are these and how much did Gambia lose so far for hiring such companies. And accordingly, the Gambia Tourism Master Plan has demarcated the tourism industry into zones. But we have seen FTI entering into areas that are specifically for mass tourism. Why this are happening? Thank you very much.
I may not remember all that he has asked, but as we move on, remind me. Let me start with the Russian market. We brought the Russian market here. But you must understand Russia is under sanctions by the United States of America. This is international financial implications. The Russian market are paying in Russian local currency. But the tourists, when they travel, they have to pay their suppliers in foreign currency. Their currency depreciated so much because of the sanctions imposed by the United States of America. The tour operators found it impossible to further sell Russian tourists because of the foreign exchange they have to pay where their tourists are going. As a result, they stopped operation. This is not only in the Gambia, they stopped operation in most parts of the world because of the sanctions imposed by America as a result of the issue with Ukraine. And the other one is about the PR companies. We found that there. We just felt it was waste of government money. Gambians can do it, we cannot hire foreigners to do it. This government felt that our money was being given to foreigners for nothing. How much is spent, I cannot tell you, and I don't even know. These companies, I can get you this, by next week, we can compile the list and send it to you. Follow up, we can do that. We are always open and ready. Okay? Yes, and which other one? What was the other one? You mentioned something. Scandinavian market, Gambia have improved by over 100%. Massively, we are dominating the market now. Gambia is dominating the Scandinavian market with a double-figure improvement this year. Massive improvement. Scandinavians are back in this country, massively, in fact. Let me also tell you about demarcation. I think your question was not right. It's not right. No. The tourism TDA is TDA by law. There is nowhere demarcated for cheap, last, pass, bad tourists, whatever. That's not there. It's not in the law. I'm talking, the master plan does not say that. The master plan dictates how you master, what you do. And the law demarcates this 800 meters for the purpose of tourism development. It didn't specify anywhere for rich, for poor, for small, for big. That's why I said the question needs to be framed differently, Mr. Ansumana. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Usman A. Morong, representing Mamus TV. Honorable Minister, Mr. Amat Bah, I want to know what are you doing about the eroding Kunta Kinte James Island, which is under the UNESCO's World Heritage Site?
Very important question. We are on our way to Paris in 2 weeks' time with the National Center for Arts and Culture to attend an African conference, of which 22 African countries, including the Gambia, have been qualified to present projects for consideration under the China Heritage Fund, and which is given to UNESCO for African countries. Part of the projects to be presented is this island. So pray for us that we can secure the funding to get it done. Government is on top of it. We are aware of the deteriorating situation, and we will not let it go beyond what it is. So we are working on it. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Sajo Sambo from iAfrica TV. My questions goes, the first one goes to the Minister of Tourism, Amat Bah. You said your ministry has announced the immediate increasement of foreign bonds fees in the country. What are the modalities put in place, and how much do you think should be increased? And my second one goes to the Minister of Communication. Of course, in your deliberations, you mentioned about the Banjul Brewery issue, which is a burning issue in this country, and having risking the loss of their job. You said you are on the progress, and there is no time, as Banjul Breweries is at least threatening to shut down by Saturday if government does not come up with the possible resolutions. How soon are we seeing these communications come to an end, as youth are desperately wanting to know what the outcome of this discussion will be? Thank you.
Mr. Director General, acting that your NCAC, I gave you the figures, I cannot memorize them. Can you memorize them and tell me they have a right to know? I gave you the figures, but I cannot memorize them. Too much here, but you should be able to remember. Huh?
You say we increased by 200%.
No, I want the specific figure as I wrote them and gave them to you. You cannot remember. Yes, let them make a follow-up, and then he will give you the exact figures. But I think I mentioned, we mentioned the figures and told you each of them how much they should be paid. But I know that the increase is very high. It's not only, we are not discouraging them, but we want to also support our own artists here on the ground.
Thank you. Regarding the Banjul Breweries issue, I don't want to give you a specific day, but I want to tell you that government has listened, and we listened carefully and diligently. Also, we there was an interministerial committee that was set up. The Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Trade actually had a discussion, and before that, even the Ministry of Tourism, was also, engaged. because, you know, I mean, alcoholic beverages also have a great impact on our hospitality industry in general. And following a fruitful discussion, it was escalated to the Ministry of Trade, that is responsible for businesses in this country. And the two ministries actually throughout the middle of last week to, I think, Monday or Tuesday of last week, they had, you know, concretized the issues that need to be ironed out. We hope that the National Assembly Select Committee will be briefed, you know, because anything that has to do with the revenue expenditure of this country, I mean, the National Assembly should be consulted, because this was gazetted already. It is like law. So you just cannot say, okay, we are just, I mean, taking it off our books and then it applies. You have to go through some procedure because it's in the interest of everyone. That is why I said we don't want to give a specific timeline on this, but I can tell you that government had listened and we have engaged, and I want to believe that contrary to what you have said, Banjul breweries will not close on Saturday. Personally, I have also reached out to the general manager, Mr. Dabo, and assured him of government's commitment, you know, to bring this thing to a closure soonest. What I don't want to do is to give a specific day or timeline, but I can tell you that there is a strong commitment that before the end of next week, a decision will be, announced to the media. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Tabora Bojang from the Standard newspaper. The first question that I have is from the deliberation of the minister. We've heard that, you know, most of the international tour operators will be building their own hotels in this country. So my concern is that, you know, if all the operators are to build their own hotels in this country, do you think that will set a good precedent in terms of economic gains for our indigenous stakeholders within the tourism industry, including tour guides and other operators? And the second question is, last year we were here talking about an MOU, a proposed MOU between Gambia and Saudi Arabia. So what more can you tell us about this? You know, how far have you gone in implementing this? And sometime like some 4 months ago, you've also made mention of that the Gambian culture has vanished, and that the ministry is revising ways in bringing it back, and that there will be a regulation that will stipulate 80% of music that will be played on Gambian radio stations to be Gambian. So when are we going to see this?
You have to remind me one after the other. You have so many questions. One of them is the issue of Saudi tour operators. You see, they cannot build more hotels than the hotel that we already own. And I'm not saying that all of them. I'm saying most of them now want to build, because the standard they want to have, they must set it. How they want it run is to be run by Gambians, not they themselves. The one they build here is already run by Gambians, but the standard must be respected, because that's what they are marketing themselves, so that they know that the product they are marketing is what they are getting. That's in fact very encouraging. That would allow other Gambians too with hotels to emulate them and do better to get their tourists. They will fly in tourists, they cannot feed them in their hotels. They have to give them to other hotels, but the standard cannot be compromised. So that is in fact, that assures you that they have confidence in the government by putting money there. If not, they would just come, if there is a crash, they will leave the Gambia. But because they want to put in money, that shows a serious sign of confidence for the Gambia, the tourism sector, and the government of the Gambia. So for that one, I can assure you is on. Now, regarding the issue of playing Gambian music, there is a law already in place. The issue is the law was not reinforced. And now with the new staff that they are recruited, I've told them there is no compromise. They have to start working with the Ministry of Information to make sure that this law is implemented. Nothing should stop it happening. They've got staff are well motivated, well paid. They should be able to implement it now. So I'm with you on that, because I want to see my own traditional music, my own Gambian music played more than foreign music. I think it's about 70%, is it? 70% of all radio and television, even online papers who are playing music, online newspapers, you have to play 70% of all your music to be Gambian music. Okay? And the other one is the Saudi-Gambia MOU. We had a setback because the minister in charge in Saudi Arabia was removed, was moved to another. He was moved to be in charge of the space agency. He's the only first Muslim astronaut in the world who have been to the space. He's a scientist, an astronaut, renowned all over the world. And you know, Saudi Arabia want to move to another level of nuclear whatever. So he was moved from the Tourism and Heritage Ministry to the space agency. Now, our ambassador, today or tomorrow, sorry, on Sunday or Monday, we'll be meeting the new minister on this same issue. We've been on it 24/7. Even last night, I spoke to the ambassador. The new minister now is going to meet him for us to move this forward, for your information. Thank you.
The ministers. My first question is about Sanyang Beach. Sanyang Beach, if you go there, you will still perceive the odor, the smells from this nesting fish factory. What is the ministry, what is ministry or GT board is doing over this? The second one is the issue of land. You mentioned, my name is Yunus Salil.
What organization?
I'm a freelancer. Now, the issue of land, you have made mention of land here, but there is a small fight between Gambia Tourism Board and estate agents. Now, what is ministry going to do about this? We know that this land has been given to GT Board for a long time. Estate agents, now they said this land over their dead body, they will not give chance. So I don't know what physical planning and others are doing over this. The issue of airport, this thing, every time we have a meeting there, every year we have a maybe stakeholders meeting. The issue of airport is still not solved. You yourself attested to this.
You have three questions now.
Yeah, the last one is that for NCAC, the Underwater Convention, UNESCO Underwater Convention, when is it going to be rectified?
Thank you.
Yes. Just a follow-up to the question that he has about this Saudi issue. If we have our good hands go to Saudi to work, is it not going to cause brain drain? Thank you.
First of all, let me start with the issue of fish. I am more flabbergasted than anybody when it comes to fish smell around any tourist site. You go to Sam Al Seir, fishing is banned. If you are caught fishing, you go to jail. We inherited this mess from the previous government. We inherited it. But you must also understand, within the TDA, there are areas designated for fish landing sites. Bird watching. We are looking into this and correct the wrongs of the past and do the right thing. We are concerned. With regards to the issue of land, there will always be land issue throughout Africa. One of the biggest causes of war in Africa is about land. There will always be fracas here and there. And I don't want to discuss that. Some of them are before court of law. I don't want to do that. Some of them are before commission of inquiry. I cannot make a statement on that. By law, it will be prejudicial. I cannot do that. Thirdly, you talk about, estate agencies. That matter is going before the courts. This country is governed by law. If anybody thinks that you can take the law into your own hands, we'll see it in the courts. Simple and straightforward. Simple and straightforward. The courts are there. We are in a democracy. The courts are there to decide and do the right thing. We have a law in our hands, and we have the power in our hands, and the law have not changed. Therefore, we go to the courts. But if somebody believes you have money, you can wrap up anywhere you want to do, those days are gone. Where you can come and see a minister, get something done, director call, invite people for dinner. We accepted nobody's dinner's invitation. We refused it. Yes, dinners were offered. We refused it completely. We don't want to sell our country. We will not sell this country. This land belongs to our children the next 100 years. Go and see how Canary Island is managing their land. Go and see how Cape Verde is managing their land. Go and see how America, Miami is managing their land. Why should we let Gambia, our children, the next 100 years will ask, what have our people done? Where is this land? We cannot let that happen. And you know, to tell the truth, this is the only country where you have state agency coming every week, 2 new agencies registered without control. Sorry to say this. Let them do what they do, but we are not the men that you can buy to get away with things and break our law. And women, we are not. It's before the courts, and let the courts decide. Thank you. The airport, I cannot comment more than I've done. Simple and straightforward. We are working toward resolving. They are human beings. Hope they are listening. Simple. And we are all Gambians.
One from the Voice newspaper. A former correspondent for the Voice newspaper in CRR. But my concern is about the Janjam Relief House. I understand that all historical places known to be owned by the state, but the Janjam Relief House is owned by a private, is privatized, owned by a family. And my concern is the slave house a real slave house? If it is, why is it owned by a family?
Very important question. And I raised this issue even in Janjambure myself. I think for those of you who were at Janjambure, you must have heard me about this. We strongly believe what belongs to the state belongs to the state. How it came about in the hands of others, I cannot determine that. But as a government, we are setting up a commission of inquiry with men and women of professional knowledge and know-how to establish the true fact of it, how it all came to happen. But I will tell you one thing. Upon the report, the submission of that report, the government of the Gambia will act decisively to do what is right for the Gambian people. That much I can tell you. The issue of, yes, whether it was not, a lot of study has been done by experts, and I think one of them is in the United States. A lady, another doctor also lecturing one of the universities in America, and some Gambian historians here. We are setting up an inquiry into that based on men and women of knowledge to also tell us the truth. If you don't know, somebody know, and those who know will let us know. And I think at the right time when we receive that report, the Gambians will come to know the reality of it. Thank you.
Honorable ministers, members of the high table, I think my face is enough as an ID in the country. I need not tell you who I am.
But just say it for the international viewers who may not know.
Okay, for the international viewers, my name is Jennifer Kuyate, Gambia Tourism Board Ambassador. We talk a lot about culture, especially cultural music, fading out. This is the reality. This is what is happening. This is no boasting, but people like us, anytime we march out from the scene, then the country is going to be dormant culturally. And that may soon happen. This is why I initiated something. I think the tourism board is aware, because they are even trying to encourage me to give me land to build a school where we can teach cultural music, inculcate it in our young ones. This is evident that even our boys starting music now are going foreign. The cultural music is no more. So it's high time. The more time we waste, the more time Geneva is aging, and the moment we go out of the scene, forget about cultural music. Yes, and it's richer in Gambia than any other country, especially this part of Africa. When you go to Mali, you ask them, they will say yes. Go to the Gambia, you'll find the real culture. But I think we are not paying too much heed to this. So, Honorable Minister, I think hence you are just about to go to Paris for this meeting. We should put this to people like UNESCO and some other funding agencies so that we have this school built as soon as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be detrimental.
Thank you. Just to comment on Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, I think your concerns, you must appreciate that very often when I meet you, we've raised these issues in our office, and we have discussed it repeatedly, and we have also supported and promoted both your project and that of Sona Jobate and all others who are involved in having a school of music. But actually where we found ourselves is we have subsequent governments that have not paid attention on the issue of culture and the issue of our past, the issue of our history, the issue of who we are. I am one of those who are convinced that a country's power is not determined by its economy. It's not determined by its military strength. It is determined by its ability to tell its past, preserve its past, use it as a source of inspiration for national development. When countries do that, that's where you see their power. That is my strong belief. And that's why I always believe that we should use our past to build our future. In doing that, you will not make mistakes. But once you lose your past, you cannot build a reliable future. Because it's through the past that you can learn from what has happened and then be able to guide yourself in a way that tomorrow you have something that you can narrate and be proud of. And let me tell you that you're right, Jaliba may go, but not soon. We pray that you stay for a while. You see, one of the problems that I have, Jaliba, when you play, see, I used to remember when I was very young, when we have the Jallos coming, my father will hold me on hand, say, go and tell the Jallo you give him a bull. You know, and then I'll say, I gave you a bull. You know, we are proud in doing that. Yeah. You know, our parents, we are happy when the Jali go on with the Simburu and all that. You know, they get excited. They call, you know, the daughter or the son, go and tell him I've given him a bull. You know, or sometimes they take out money, they sow and give Jali. Here, when I try to give you money, the press insult me. Jali. You know, and you know, let me tell you this strategy. Let me tell you. If Amat Bah goes to give Jali money, everybody comes, he gets money. If Amat Bah sits down, everybody sits down. And I want him to get money, because I know his cost. But when he comes to play, I want to initiate the idea to give him money so that people can go and give him money. When I go to give him money, the next day they are insulting me, not knowing I'm doing that to support him to make money. It's part of my tradition. Yeah. All of us are suffering because of that. It's your pleasure to go and give Jallo something, you are proud of it. It's not because you have money. When you know you are going to the Jallo, you start saving for 1 week. And you start changing nice currencies. We all have done that in the past. You know, so you know that you are Jaliba Saturday. Everybody start gathering something. And the little that you have is what you want to give Jaliba as a source of pleasure and pride. Today you want to do that as a minister. They said, Funko Jele, Ndanga Mundanga. Am I not a human being? Tell me. No, really, not only that, Jali. I think some of these things are affecting you too. It's affecting our Jallos, they are all suffering. Na Jalol Beka Batajin Koto. That's the problem. So I think we need to also talk to with our friends in the press, in the media. Really, sometimes this is part of our tradition. When President Barrow gave money at the airport to these Jallos, he was excited. That's part of his culture. It was headline, bala, bala, bala. We are not America, my friend. We are not Europe, we are Gambia. Please, excuse me for that, but we must accommodate some of our valued cultural practices that we cannot go without it. Yeah. When I hear the Riti or the Simburu, it hits. When I hear this great Sarahule, this great Sarahule man, even if I'm in bed, I wake up. Sana, Jalisana. Yeah, Sana. He sex all of us. You know, when he was arrested in Paris, I think 3,000 people went to give up themselves to be arrested and let him be released. Some committed suicide. 80 people died that day committing suicide because he was arrested. You see how music or how tradition is in the heart of people.
They know the value too.
You know, so we cannot get away with that. Please allow us to go back to our roots and be what we are. Let us happy. Please. Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Fatou from the Gambia Radio and Television Services. Honorable Minister, I have 3 questions for you. You did mention, and I quote, we eat a lot of food that is being imported actually. My question is, what is the ministry doing to promote our own traditional culinary? We understand the Gambia Tourism Board organizes one, which is annually, that's the Food and Beverage Festival. To me, that is not enough for a country that actually depends on tourism as a second largest contributor to the GDP. Now, what is your ministry also doing to revamp our tourism attraction sites, namely, of course, natively Jufure, the Abuko Nature Reserve, where we have virtually nothing actually to present as a country, and also to Kashikali at Bakau. Now, finally, we all understand that all-inclusive is here to stay, basically, but the local people keep complaining that they don't benefit anything from the tourists. You did mention that tourism must impact the lives of people, and I think the ordinary people are part of society. Now, yes, tourists do often, local people do often complain that they don't get anything from the tourists. Now, everything that they have actually is been giving out to the tour operators. And what would you say to the suggestion that tourism is not growing in the Gambia? Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Tourism is not growing. I don't need to talk about that. You've heard the figures. They speak for themselves. That is fallacious. For anybody who believes it, it's growing rapidly and fastly indeed. Figures speak for themselves. Am I right? The issue of food culture, I think, to be honest with you, the Gambians lost their food culture massively. We adopted what is not ours, and found ourselves in a situation that is very, very bad. The number of people who die instantly of heart attacks is unbelievable, unprecedented. I was in the provinces last week. One of the alcaldes of the village was walking, doing something. After chatting with people, within minutes he was dead. People couldn't believe it, because the type of food we are eating. The traditional food that we were eating, that kept our men and women, our fathers and forefathers, to live for 1,800 years, we are not cooking it anymore. Particularly our young ladies today. They don't even know how to cook the traditional food because they didn't learn it from their parents. And that's the saddest part of it. And that's why the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute is coming with a new initiative of reviving some of our dishes that we can bring back so that our Gambians can use it and be proud of it and become healthier for us. Let me just tell you, before you used to see our women do mayonnaise. They take 2 eggs, they make the mayonnaise, they use it for salad in the evening, very beautiful one. Today you don't go there, you go to the supermarket and buy mayonnaise. Industrially done, you don't even know what it contains, and you eat it. How many of you young ladies today can make mayonnaise? Or make mayonnaise at your home for your families? I know one that I know. I know that my permanent secretary does. She does that. That I know because she came from a traditional family. Probably. But how many of us came from a traditional family who are doing this, who have been taught to do it? Do you understand? I think that's where our problem is. Our parents, some of us, I have a problem with my daughter, one of the one I love most. Even when they are cooking, she's in the bed. And I keep on hammering on her, go to the kitchen and see what your mom is doing. I think as parents too, we owe it to our children, our daughters that we love so much, that we force them to go to the kitchen and learn how to do things. So if you lose sight of that, you don't know how to cook. All what you go and read books of tubabs, and then you present the food there for people to eat. You have the sarahule, this, what's the name they call it? Bununyeke, huh? Yes. You have the Toranka, you have the Mandinka, Mafo, Durango. We have all these things that we used to cook at home. And then people enjoy it. You used to remember when you have the Domoda, they will kill a cow or a sheep, they will dry the meat up there, they call it sel, chili. They will cut a small piece, put it inside the mafe, you eat that, you enjoy it the whole day. How many of our women know about that today? You know, you don't need to put jumbo there. Just put that piece of meat there inside. It gives you all the taste you need. No salt, nothing, just that piece. You have it, put it inside durango. It's the best. You don't know what jumbo is, you don't know what Maggi is. How many of us know about that today, our women? Do we know? We don't. The knowledge has not been transmitted from our elders to the young ones. And I hope that my little daughter will also learn to cook for her husband those times. Oh, you do? Oh, I'm very proud of you then. Thank you. So that's the second person who is doing it too. So I'm happy about that. So I think really it's important that we really work on GTHI to try to really do what it takes, you know, encourage this thing through the Department of Culture to really promote our food culture in the country. It's very important. What was the other question?
All inclusive.
All inclusive is fake, what they are telling you. It's not real. It's not real. The food they eat in all is bought from the woman who is complaining to you. The vegetables are bought from there. All the things they eat inside there is bought from there. And you know what? The hotels encourage them to go out more than stay, because the more they stay, the more they consume, the more they lose money. So the story is not correct. It was something they have in fear, and that cost this country dearly. Those who were campaigning against it did not understand the implication of all-inclusive. They took it upon themselves because few people used it and intimidated the then military regime of Yahya Jammeh. They drove them out of this country. They went next door to build Cape Verde with 800,000 tourists. Your country is still staggering less than 200. Or we just passed 200 last year. 60% of world tourism booking is on all-inclusive. If you are not part of it, get out of the market. But we in the Gambia, we have selected specific hotels that can do it. Those are in particular area will not be able to do it. So all-inclusive have to mix, and we have only 2 hotels doing it. With all this big talk, all the talk they are talking, only very few are doing it, and it's unnoticeable. So I think it's a misinformation of a section of Gambians who thought that they own this industry. They drive the force of this industry, and they exploited the weakness of the system and the ignorance of those responsible at the time, and they used it to destroy what could have been the gem of this country. We are bringing it back as a government. So don't worry about all-inclusive. It's here to stay.
Preservation of attraction sites.
Yes. As I said, it's our greatest concern. Because these sites are part of our history. We need to preserve them. Government is doing its own financially, but hopefully we are also moving out. Hopefully these are all in our package that we are going. Hopefully we can get something when we go. We are among the 22 countries qualified for sponsorship in this project. What we are going to get there, we don't know. But we are going to hustle and try to see what we can get, so that at least whatever we get, we'll use it to develop. If not, the rest of it has to come from government revenues.
Thank you, one of the ministers, tourism and cultural and secretaries, directors, and members of the press corps. That actually brings us to the end of this press conference. I hope we have learned something new, and that the journalists are ready and they have stories for their Monday papers, and the radio stations are as well also poised to report whatever they think was said here that was of significance. The coming of Jaliwa Kuyate to the podium also adds dimension actually to the press conference. Gambian culture and the preservation of culture could not be done in the absence of these local artists. I think it was the Malian historian Muhammadu Hamfati Bah who once said that when an old man or woman dies in Africa, it's like the incineration of an entire library. That just speaks to the significance, really, of having old people and then people who are culturally connected. So we hope, as Jaliba has indulged the government, to come to their rescue and try to establish this facility so that the young Gambians could also come there and harness their skills in music and art and culture, so that it would help us in preserving our own culture and obviously our own destiny as a nation. I thank you so much, and I wish you a very blessed weekend. Thank you to everybody.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.